Pat and Josh, both of you, we've had some speakers who are experts in the younger generation and today's kids about these themes around overprotective parents and helicopter parenting and that we need to develop resilient kids. Although you're still young yourselves, do you see any differences in how you communicate compared to how Nuke and Fraser and the guys that you would have dealt with communicated with you? How do you now communicate with the younger guys coming through? You're got a right grin there.
Well, I think firstly, probably as coaches, we're all guilty of overcoaching, over-communicating instead of sometimes even stifling the kids' imaginations from a young age, even right to the tour level. And as coaches, we there's a lot of dead time on the court where we feel like we need to talk. So I really believe that sometimes very simple, basic, clear messages carry a lot of weight. Certainly the young generation that I've been dealing with, I find that their expectation is that they feel they need a coach on the court 24 hours a day, they need a fitness trainer, they need a physio around them. If they don't have that, then they almost feel incapable. And I think the great players, whether they're Roger Federer or whether they're Leighton Hewitt, they almost coach themselves. They're that good and they're that experienced and that used to sort of figuring out difficult situations when they get on the court. So I think the clear message that I try and get is nothing wrong with giving the kids 3 balls and saying off you go, you can drive the session. But just strip it back very simple, because I think if you spend too much time with them, they just lose their own ability to think under pressure on the court.
Yeah, it's certainly been evident that I've seen with Josh, what we've got coming through, and the expectations then from these kids is they want more and more. The next generation come through, and we're seeing it. We've got fantastic facilities here, and it's interesting to see a lot of the guys from all the other countries come around here and going, I can't believe your facilities. And then they're saying, and they can't believe what our kids are actually getting. And listen, it's great, it's a great opportunity for these kids, but sometimes they expect that they want more and more all the time. That's just the general nature, I think, of being a kid. My dialogue with a lot of the guys, obviously, well, he said, I'm dealing with sort of the top guys that know sort of what they're doing. And when I first came on the scene, I'd sit down and change the bands, I'd be telling Bernie, do this, do that, and he went and did the opposite and actually worked for him. So it's better I don't say anything. And with Leighton, I just make sure I give him towels and water, and if there's anything that needs to be said, I'll sort of say it if I feel like he's getting himself into trouble. But these guys are used to being on the court and working things out for themselves. The young kids coming through with Nick Kyrgios in Poland, he played the doubles match. It was really interesting to see him and his attitude on the court. He was looking and really wanting information all the time. It was actually a lot of fun being on the court with him and trying to help him through that time to deal with things mentally. But as you become more ingrained in yourself, and as he spends more and more years on the tour and he's by himself and playing matches by himself, when he comes to the Davis Cup scenario, I've got to be careful not to say too much because he has learned what to do by himself.